Okay, let's try this again. My name's Dakota, also known as Dusty's My Friend Music, and I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that this has been the craziest year of my life. I'm very low energy right now because I am sick with the worst stomach bug I've had in a very long time. But I really just needed a moment to kind of acknowledge all that I've been going through and dealing with this year. So my story starts at the beginning of February, when I decided to take a break from my 4-year-long relationship, and at the end of February I ended that 4-year-long relationship. During that break I found what I had already thought to be true, which is that I was being emotionally manipulated and lied to by my partner. And for further context, I am physically disabled. I struggle with severe chronic pain, and I've also struggled a lot with chronic illness. And I have never thought I'd be able to do what I have done this year. So ending that relationship obviously was incredibly difficult for me to do, but I did. And then in March, I was an hour and a half away visiting family, thinking I was probably going to have about 3 weeks before I could get my camper back. But in that first weekend of March, I get a call telling me that I had to pack up all of my things in the camper, pack up my camper to be ready to be moved, and also all of my ex's things to move over to their new camper, and also with no notice had to take care of my ex's cat for a few weeks. Once I got my camper out to my grandma's, I began living without water for a few weeks. So that meant I was having to go into my grandma's house for everything that I needed for water, including going to the restroom. And I was on a decent schedule for that. I cat sat for my friend that lived 45 minutes away. I performed at emo night, and that was my first real gig in a very long time. I got sick with a viral upper respiratory infection. I celebrated 4 birthdays, including my own. I learned how to do an oil change, got financially cornered into giving up the truck that was in my name. I started a new job, did several hours of video training at home while sick, and that was all just the month of March. In April, I started off strong by celebrating Easter with my family. I visited with family from out of town for a week, and then I started having issues with my car, had to get my spark plugs replaced. I fixed a leak. At this point, I'd just gotten water in my camper, and then immediately had to fix a leak and narrowly avoided flooding my home. I found another leak 2 days later, and a severe mold problem underneath my bed. So I had to completely rearrange, tear up, discombobulate my camper in order to access the leak and the mold to treat that. I spent weeks renovating my camper with little experience while living in it. I continued working during all of this time. The job that I got, for a little more context, the job that I got in March, I began working as a substitute teacher with school-aged students, specifically the elementary school level, and more specifically with SPED students and students with behavioral issues. So I continued working during these renovations and living with my camper just all over the place. I took my cat to the vet to make sure he didn't have a fungal infection. Then I started off May strong by getting sick again I tried 3 different treatments, multiple clinic trips, and one of those that whole process, I was being treated for 3 months and still ended up not finding a clear cause for what was making me sick. In May, I continued to work for the school district, got fleas, so of course I had to wash everything and treat my whole camper. I had a blowout on my tire because my road was being repaved. I got new tires and gave up on my car after finding out it needed new brake pads, an alignment, and a new rack and pinion. All of this as I began looking for summer work, and still hadn't found a summer job yet. I had multiple interviews. I released a new single. I started working on releasing a different single. I celebrated Mother's Day, fixed a leaky window in my camper, went to a wedding, and hung out with 3 different sets of friends. In June, I was intimidated into leaving my camper. I had to start staying at 3 different places over the course of a week for 4 weeks in a row, meaning 3 times a week I was unpacking and packing my car, commuting from different places. Once I started my new job, also in June, working primarily with infants and toddlers, working 5 days a week for that. So I was living out of my car a lot. I was living in 3 different places. I was driving all around town just to have a place to stay each night, and I also didn't do anything to warrant this behavior, and everyone involved in the situation can agree with that, but unfortunately that was still the situation that I was forced into. I released a new single, the one that I started working on in May, and I kept working on my new album during all of this time. I celebrated Father's Day. I had more work training with my new job. I was consistently dealing with more intimidation from my aggressor in this situation each time I had to come to my home for anything. And I was also taking care of my cat, who stayed at a friend's house during this time. Started off July strong by being able to move my camper again out of that situation. I got fleas again pretty much immediately. My car's performance dropped dramatically, and I was without a reliable vehicle for this time, only being able to make it to and from work very precariously. I released my new album. I tried and succeeded to get approved for my first ever loan. Got sick again, threw a birthday party for my best friend, celebrated my siblings' birthdays, got German cockroaches, which are thankfully now, it is August and they're gone. I will have to keep getting treatment for that, but I also had to tear up my place for them to spray everywhere for that. I bought a new reliable car. I did more in-person and online training for my substitute job. I went through a lengthy process trying to get my new car placed on my insurance and registered, which I'm still having some roadblocks with that. And I got into a new, very healthy relationship. That was July. It is now August. At the beginning of August, my friend also went through a similar situation that I did in February, so I started taking care of her cat for this month, and I am now sick again with the worst stomach bug that I have had in a very long time. So this happened over February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 7 months, and I have the rest of August, September, October, November, December to go. Sorry, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I will say I did not go through all of this alone. I could not be more grateful to those who have supported me through this, to those who have fed me and housed me, who've helped me with my car, who have helped me with my renovations and my leaks, who've helped me with my pest control. I am so grateful for all the support and the help that I have had through this entire journey. Could not have done it alone. But I also wanted to take some time to acknowledge all that I have been going through, and I just pray that things will slow down now. I can get over this sickness. I can start back again as a substitute and just get to kind of have my life back for a little bit. So if you've watched this, thank you so much. The number one way you can support me is by listening to my music and following my story. So thank you.